Pay attention for a sec. How can you get in on this participation prize thing? Well, the first thing you got to do is attend the live quiz. Boom, you are here right now. Perfect. Otherwise, you could be watching the recording. Again, welcome. And you got to listen for the secret password. I make the password so obvious every time. Don't worry about it. You might remember if you were here last week, the password was manure because I asked Emmanuel if I could make a silly password. It had to do with biofuels. Don't worry. It was sciencey poop. Some people wonder, like, what happens if I misspell the word or if I didn't capitalize it or whatever? If you wrote something, some weird example, that sounds a lot like manure, don't worry. Okay. If you wrote grapefruit or like diesel or atoms, that's nowhere close to manure. So that wouldn't count. So don't sweat it. I'm going to keep the word on there on the screen. I'll let you know where it is. Don't worry. And you have to put it in your participation form before you ask. And I apologize to all adults watching this right now. You're like, where's the participation form, Charles? I don't know if that's how you talk. I don't know why I made that voice. But if you remember, the grown up who signed you up, that could be a parent, a family member, friend, teacher, whatever, they have that stuff. I'm sorry. I don't want to ruin your lives, grown-ups. But the children should be asking you about this stuff. So they will show you where the form is. You're going to put the password in. They'll submit it on your behalf. And then you get a badge and you get entered for the weekly draw. And yes, the form is available on Friday, which is today. And again, grown-ups, I'm sorry. Please don't hate me. If you don't know where that is or if you've forgotten, check your email. And also, you can always go to our webpage, letstalkscience.ca or parlonscience.ca, where you can find more information. Rules for today, super simple. I got lost there, way too many supers. So write down your answer on the score sheet. If you printed it off, perfect. If not, just keep track of it, whatever is as comfortable for you. Try not to cheat, okay? Like don't open the study handbook, please don't do that. I'm hoping you don't, because remember, these things that we're doing, so all 10 weeks that we're doing, this is practice for the big event that's happening in May. And in May, we are going to count the points and stuff like that. And yeah, cheating is not a good option there. Totally work in teams or individually. I just want you to do it the safe way, right? So if you're in a place where I am, where it's social distancing, I wouldn't be crowding around with anyone. I might be using a piece of software to chat with my buddies, or like at a good distance, like try not to yell it in case other people are competing against you. Do it safely. Doesn't matter if you're alone or if there's for you. Totally fine. And the last thing, yes, please don't spam the Q&A. I'm going to be kind of weird for a sec, okay? With other people and stuff like that, we will unfortunately shut it down. So you're in complete control of how this is going to play out. Okay. I'm not trying to be a jerk or anything like that. I want to be honest with you. I want to be real. I'm not being sneaky or anything like that. And you're all in charge of how this will go. So hopefully you understand what I'm saying, because we don't want to ruin stuff for people. And please remember that we're doing this for fun. So your score, I do not care if you get 0. I do not care if you get 100%. I'm just so happy that you're here with me and you're learning. It's okay to make mistakes. And remember, no one should be making fun of you for that, because that is really jerky behavior. That's kind of bullying. And we don't do negative points, right? So if you get something wrong, you just get a 0. You don't get -1. Don't worry. I'm tricking you into learning like I do every week, and I want you to have fun with that. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So we're going to do 11 questions for 13 points. We're going to go through 3 rounds: multiple choice, true or false, visuals, and 5 categories of STEM and context, general knowledge, multidisciplinary, career, and reading. The topic this week is math or mathematics, if you want to be less brief. And you can see our unofficial mascot there, Lexi, holding a tiny, it's handmade, little calculator. She's nuts for math. Yeah, because squirrel's nuts. It's the same joke every week, guys. I'm sorry. All right. If we are ready to begin this quiz, can I see some hands up, please? Let's see some hands. All right. So we're approaching at least half the group. All right, at least half of you are saying we're ready to go. So I'm gonna go with that. You can put your hands down. Let us begin. And here we go. We're gonna be doing a lot of these, of course, right? So this is reading tied to the study handbook. And it's a sprint. So if you remember, The sprint's a little bit different, right? The regular questions are 25 seconds long. This one, because it's a little bit tougher, more involved, it's 45 seconds long. One of the things that makes it tougher is you're going to see 1, 2, 3 questions. So I'm going to show you them all. I'm going to read them to you, and then Ellie's going to help me out by popping up the answer sheet when I ask him to, and then I'll start the timer. Oh my goodness. What are the prime numbers between 40 and 50? And I have messed this up all week because it's kind of like a tongue twister. Is it 43, 45, 47? Is it 41, 42, 43? Is it 41, 43, 47? Is it 43, 47, 49? That's the first time I did it, because all week I've been like just saying 40 something again and again. I kept messing it up. Thank you, Elliot, for getting excited for the simple things in life. All right, question number 2. What is the prime factorization of 28? Is it 4 times 7? Is it 2 times 14? Is it 1 times 28? Or is it 2 times 2 times 7? All right, and number 3, what is the least common multiple of 13 and 31? Is it 66, 403, 99, or 3 or 4? And you might have noticed all the questions are about factorization. All right, so Elliot, please pop up that answer sheet, and I'm going to start that timer. Here we go. And remember, you want to pick your answer 1, 2, 3, and then click submit. Because if you pick answer 1 or 2 or whatever, and then click submit, you won't be able to answer the other questions. This one is a tough one, and I know it's a lot to do. Just that's why we gave you a little bit more time. Remember, you're wondering what are the prime numbers between 40 and 50. You're wondering what is the prime factorization of 28, and you're wondering what is the least common multiple of 13 and 3. All right, so less than 20 seconds left. Getting close to about 15 seconds left. All right, less than 10. All right, and time is up. Let's lock in those answers. It's always interesting because you might not know this, but I can see the percentages of answers coming in, and usually at about like 10 seconds left with something like this, only like 50 to 60% of you have answered, because it's a lot to do. And then in like the last 5 seconds, boom, the number just shoots up to about 80%. And remember, don't worry about the percentages. You can see there, they don't add up, and don't worry about it. It's because multiple people might be logging in with the same account. That's totally fine. Don't sweat it. So let's look at the answers here. So for what are the prime numbers, pardon me, between 40 and 50? So it looks like the bulk of the audience went with 41, 43, 47. And then we drop down to 43, 45, 47. And then behind that is 41, 42, 43. And then right behind that, 43, 47, 49. My favorite prime, though, is Optimus. Transformers joke. I'm sorry. All right. Number 2. What is the prime factorization of 28? And it looks like the bulk of the audience by a fair bit went with 2 times 2 times 7. And then we drop down, oh, it's pretty close here, 4 by 7, right behind that, 1 by 28, and not too far behind, 1 times 28, sorry. Did I say 4 by 7? 4 times 7, sorry about that. And then the last place, not too far behind the third place, is 2 times 14. And the last question, what is the least common multiple of 13 and 31? So the bulk of the audience went with 403. Then we drop down to 66, not too far behind 99, and not too far behind that 304. And remember, it's not an all or nothing thing, right? You're going to get 1 point for each answer you get correct. So if you only get 1 correct, 2 correct, give yourself 2 out of 3, 1 out of 3, whatever it is that you get. So for number 1, what you were looking for was 41, 43, 47C. So yes, the bulk of the audience is getting 1 point for this. So give yourself 1 point. Number 2, what is the prime factorization of 28? We are looking at 2 times 2 times 7. So yes, once again, the bulk of the audience has gotten that answer correct. And number 3, what is the least common multiple of 13 and 31? We are looking for 403. So yet again, yes, the bulk of the audience got that correct. Any major questions at all, Elliot? We're doing okay? Perfect. I'm just going to leave that up just for a couple of seconds because I know with the sprint ones, it takes a little bit longer sometimes to score it. So for 1, you wanted to pick C, so 41, 43, 47. That's worth 1 point. 2, you want to pick D, 2 times 2 times 7, which is worth 1 point. And 3, you want to pick 403, which is worth 1 point. Can you put your hands up to let me know that you are done scoring and we can move on? Oh, Elliot's dancing away. I don't know if you can see him. He's raising the roof. We are so old, Elliot, when we dance like that, just so you know. Perfect. All right, so more than half the audience is good to go. If there's any questions about that, the crew will answer, and we can always go back to it and take a look. You can put your hands down. Thank you very much, everyone. Let's go to number 2. All right, so this is a question from Sophie Clement. As is usual, what will happen is I'll play the video. I'm going to mute myself so you can hear it well. She's going to ask a question and then list the possible answers. And if you don't hear it, don't sweat it, because on the next slide, I'm going to show you the question that was asked. All right, so here we go. I'm going to mute myself.
Hi, my name is Sophie Clement, and I'm an associate manager at Canada Life, located in Winnipeg, Manitoba. The question is, what time would be indicated on a 12-hour clock 8 hours after 5? A, 12, B, 2, C, 1, or D, 3? Good luck.
Awesome, and I think she has a Winnipeg Jets jersey. That's correct, right, Elliot? Do you watch hockey?
I don't watch hockey. I just watch football.
Mia, do you watch hockey? It's the Winnipeg Jets, right? Okay, I'm sorry. I don't watch hockey, guys. I'm really, really lame. Minha, if you know, feel free to speak up. I watch Formula One racing and soccer, which is very weird. I know it feels very un-Canadian to me. All right. I'm sorry. I thought one of us would know. So what time would be indicated on a 12-hour clock 8 hours after 5? And it doesn't matter if it's AM or PM. Would it be 12, 2, 1, or 3? All right, Ellie, can you pop up that answer sheet, please? And I'm sure people are screaming at me in the chat for the hockey team name. Let's start that timer. So yeah, it's 5. Doesn't matter if it's AM or PM. What's it going to be 8 hours later? And again, doesn't matter if it'll be 8 AM or PM there. Will it be 12, 2, 1, or 3? I'll give you a hint. If you live in Quebec, you might have a slight advantage here. And I'll explain that. I'm not trying to say like Quebecers are smarter than everyone else, but there's a reason they might do this quicker than some of us. All right, let's lock in that answer and take a look. All right, so yeah, the majority of the audience by a mile here went with 1. Then we drop down to 3, and then it's tied for 2 and 12. And the correct answer here is 1. Let's go back to that Quebecer thing for a sec. Okay, I'm going to give you a name that we've mentioned, I think, at least in one of these quizzes. We definitely talked about him last year. A fellow by the name of Sir Sanford Fleming helped create something called standard time. And that's when we started using 24-hour clocks. So speaking about hockey, I used to watch when I was younger. I don't anymore, I'm sorry. But sometimes, because you might not know this, but my first language is French, and I would watch things in French, and my family would speak French, so we would watch hockey in French. We'd watch the Canadians. And when would the game be on? Oh, it would be at 1900 hours. What? What do you mean 19? Well, okay, all of Canada does use this. We don't use it commonly, but one place that they do use it a lot is Quebec. They use the 24-hour clock. So the easy way for me to know what time that is 1 is actually in the afternoon is 13. So what I did is I did 8 plus 5, right? 8 hours after 5 equals 13. Well, I know that that's 1 o'clock. I can teach you a super quick way on how to figure that out. If by chance you're in some place and they're using a 24-hour clock and you're like, oh my goodness, what time is that in PM? If it said 13, well, no, 13 is too obvious. We just did that one. If it said 15, you know what you do? Take away 12. Always remove. If the number is above 12, remove 12 and you know what time it is. So 15 minus 12 equals 3. It's 3 p.m. On the flip side, if you want to convert the PM time into something else, you're like, oh man, okay, so I go to bed at 9 p.m. That's not when I go to bed. But I go to bed at 9 p.m. How will I write this down? Well, what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to add 12. So 9 plus 12 is 21. So I go to bed at 2100 hours or 21 hours, depending on how you're expressing it. That's how you can do it. Super, super, super simple stuff. So that's what I was saying. If you live in Quebec, this might be a little bit quicker for you to figure out. All right, let's go to number 3. Do some reading. All right. That's a lot of numbers. Okay. If x equals 4, 2, 23, 5, and y equals 20, 2, 12, 5, what is and I had to look this up, that upside down U thing, that horseshoe, it's called intersection. What is the intersection of x and y? Is it 2? Is it 5? Is it 20, 23? Or is it 2 and 5? All right, Elliot, can you pop up that answer sheet, please? And let's start that timer. Here we go. So you have two series of numbers there, x and y. But what is the intersection of x and y? Kind of looks like a magnet, but yes, that upside down U is intersection. Always remember to look both ways before you cross an intersection. That was a really bad joke. I'm sorry. Sorry, guys. That had nothing to do with math. All right, just a few seconds left. Let's lock in our answers. Let's take a look at what people are saying. All right. So again, a big push for this one answer here. Most of the audience went with D, 2 and 5. Then we dropped down to 20 and 23, and then 2, and then 5. So for 1 point, I hope you pick this. If not, don't worry about it. You are looking at 2 and 5. And yes, that is the bulk of the audience. And remember, if you don't know the answer, like I said, we don't do negative. Give it a try. Take it a shot. It's okay to guess. It's okay to guess. Elliot, we're doing okay in the question department in the chat? No spammy spams? All right, perfect. Just be cool with it, folks. Be cool. All right, let's go to number 4. Whoops, I went too quick. We are now doing true or false. So remember, that is going to be a statement. I'm going to say it. Is the statement correct or incorrect? Here we go. Where are we going first? We're doing a general knowledge question. Okay, a clock. We already talked about clocks. A clock and a circle are in base 12 because we have 12 inches in a foot. Huh, interesting. Elliot, can you pop up that answer sheet? Thank you, sir. I'm going to start that timer. Here we go. It's true, a clock does have 12 on it. We just discussed that at length. And yeah, there are 12 inches in a foot, but is that the reason that a clock and a circle are in base 12? I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that statement's correct? True? Or do you think it's incorrect? False? And afterwards, if you're free, Mia's going to show me something really neat on how to count in base 12. All right, let's lock in those answers. Now let's take a look. All right, so the majority of the audience went with false. And the minority went with true. Yeah, there's only 2 options, so obviously that was the minority. Okay, and for 1 point, the correct answer is false. Now, we're going to teach you how to count in base 12 real quick. You might know this, you might not. If you asked me even now, how would I do that? How would I count to 12 on my hands? Well, I'd probably use both hands and either hope that I had an additional finger, which I don't, or start counting again on one hand. Mia, can you actually, and this is assuming that yes, you have at least a hand with all your fingers. Mia's going to show you how to count using 4 of those fingers. Can you count to 12 using 1 hand and 4 fingers for me?
Okay, so looking at each finger, you can notice that there's 2 joints where you can bend it. Okay, so that means each finger, we can separate it into 3 parts. So that means with 3 parts on each finger, you can count to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12.
And if we happen to say multiply those sections by 12, we could count to 144, right?
Yeah, so it's like 12, 24, 36, all the way like that.
Yeah, I was going to say you don't have to do them all. That's a lot of brain thinking. But yes, you could count all the way up. Interesting. What's really neat is that system is known as the dozenal system. So that's the word dozen with AL at the end. And I'm 40, and it hit me on Monday when I was reading about this, that decimal, and I never clued into this. I don't know why. I've always just written the word decimal. Decimal, deci, means 10. So 10, deci, and dozenal is 12. If you've ever had to convert fractions to decimals, that can get kind of messy. So some people think the dozenal system is actually easier for folks to count things. There are civilizations that for millennia have used base 12 as opposed to base 10. So you might know this. If you don't worry about it. If you've ever had to convert 1/3, 1/3 to a decimal, do you know what that is? You don't have to type it in. It's okay, because it'll take a long time. It's 0.33333333333333333. I'm gonna stop. It's 0.3 like forever. That's the decimal system. If you flipped it though and used the dozenal system, do you know what it is? 0.4. That's it. That's it. 1.4 right after 0.4. So some people think it's an easier way to count. It can be tough to learn, of course. And what's really, 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 really wild. So a long time ago. So you might remember this, that I studied history in university and stuff like that. And I studied like military history and things. A long time ago, there's this thing called the French Revolution. It was in France. And it's the French part at the beginning. And they changed a bunch of stuff. They started using the metric system, which we still use a lot, of course. But they actually looked at doing different types of ways of counting time. They actually had a decimal clock. So instead of like 12 numbers, they had 10, and they had like decimal days and calendars. And I guess it got really, 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 really weird. So they stopped. It's pretty wild because if you ever read about that history, like, and you see documents from them, they have months that don't even exist anymore. And just the way they were counting things, you have to be like, how do I convert this to understand it and like how I look at the world now? So that was a nerdy way to explain to you the difference between decimal and dozenal. But yeah, you can now count to 12 with one hand. Amazing. Let's go to question number 5. Multidisciplinary. All right. Toppings on a pizza. Oh man, it's getting almost dinner time. I love it. Toppings on a pizza would be considered a set. Is that true or is that false? Elliot, can you pop up the answer sheet, please? All right, let's start that timer. Here we go. I love pizza. Honestly, I know it's not healthy, but it tastes so good. And I know, yes, not everyone can eat pizza. And if you can't, that's totally fine. No judgment there. Maybe you have a pizza that's slightly different. If there's certain toppings you can't have for any reason. I love it way too much. It's a problem. But the key thing is, our toppings are set on a pizza. Pizza can somehow be mathy. All right, let's take a look at the answers. So the majority of the audience picked true and the minority picked false. And you have continued the streak this week of the majority of the audience getting it wrong. Mia, you were explaining to me earlier, why is this not a set?
Okay, so a set is kind of, so it's a collection of distinct objects. So for example, it can be like 1, 3, 5, 7. So that's all the odd numbers in a set. So, but a set is of a distinct element. So you cannot have 1, 1, 3, 3, that kind of thing. So on a toppings on a pizza, when you think of it, has like, hopefully there's going to be more than one pepperoni, and there's hopefully going to be more than one piece of, pineapple, if you're okay with it.
Yeah.
And that's not a set because they're not distinct elements anymore.
Interesting. You can, of course, use pizza, and this is what I did when I was younger, to talk about fractions. It's a nice tool to use for fractions, of course, to talk about how many slices you might give away. I'm not giving any away in my pizza, but yes, thank you. You mentioned pineapple and pineapple being contentious. That's interesting. Perfect segue. All right. Secret password alert. This is the thing that you have to put on your participation sheet. And the key thing is you're looking for that word in red. So this is true that I'm about to read to you. Yes, I wrote it. I did not make any of this up. Let's learn some pizza history. So love it or hate it, Hawaiian pizza is claimed to be a Canadian creation. Sam Panopoulos claims to have created the first one at the Satellite is the password. Satellite restaurant in Chatham, Ontario in 1962. Wow, that means it's gonna be 60 years old next year. That's wild. So this is real. In 2017, the president of Iceland told a group of students about your age that he was opposed to pineapple on pizza and would ban it if he could. He, of course, cannot do that because that's kind of extreme. And generally, world leaders don't do things willy-nilly, hopefully, to just like ban things and change things and things like that. In its defense, Canada's prime minister tweeted, "I have a pineapple, I have a pizza, and I stand behind this delicious Southwestern Ontario creation." But the key thing there is satellite. Elliot, the other day, were you telling me about that viral song? Were you mentioning that?
No, I think it was one of the other volunteers.
So I guess there is a viral.
Oh no, it was
song. Emmanuel from a couple of years ago, where some people was like, "Yeah, I have a pineapple," or sorry, "I have a pen, I have an apple, pen apple." I only know this one video that I saw of Cookie Monster.
Pen.
Yeah. Where Cookie Monster and Elmo, they're speaking Japanese. They're talking to a Japanese pop star, and he has a song about cookies, which is, "I have a choco, I have a cookie." chocolate cookie. So I don't know if that's what the Prime Minister of Canada was trying to go for. But yes, remember, satellite is the word you want to write down on your participation form. Remember, the grown-up who signed you up, they'll have access to that. Again, if you don't worry about it, grown-up. I feel your pain. Remember to check our webpage, letstalkscience.ca, and you'll be able to find some information there. Now I want pizza. Okay. Elliot, do you like pineapple on pizza?
I think it's okay. It's not the best thing in the world, but I live with it.
That's a very diplomatic answer. Mia, what about you?
I absolutely love it. It's the only thing I order.
Okay. And Minha, what about you?
I'm gonna go with Elliot on that one. It's a love-hate relationship.
Interesting. And for me, it's a little love-hate. My wife really likes it. I don't seek it out, but I'll eat it if it's presented to me. So if we were to do a survey, right? If we were to do that, I guess we'd have 1 yes and 3 right? So not a very clearly defined survey. Awesome. All right. If you folks are okay with pineapple and pizza, let's put your hands up. Let's take a look. Oh, wow. We're approaching a third of the group. So not too many, okay? You can put your hands in. And if you're like, no dice, I'm never putting pineapple on pizza. Let's see some hands up. I'm just looking at the numbers come in. It's almost fairly even. Interesting. Pretty close. Awesome. Thank you. You can put your hands down. Let's go to the next question. Number 6. We are past the halfway mark and we're doing some general knowledge. Oh, this is a fun one. I love this name, Boolean. All right, Boolean logic is a type of algebra that uses specific operations to create true, false statements. Kind of an ironic thing to ask, but is this statement true or is this statement false? Elliot, can you pop up the answer sheet, please? Perfect. Let's start that timer. So yeah, the dude's name was Boole, was his last name, but I just listed Boolean. Boolean. All right. So Boolean logic is a type of algebra that uses specific operations to create true, false statements. Is that statement itself actually true or false? All right. So half the time has passed. Oh man, I'm just dreaming about pizza. I'm sorry. You're very important to me, and I'm happy you're here, but I'm just thinking about pizza. All right, time is up. Let's lock in those answers and take a look. So most of the audience went with true, and then the other half, or obviously less than half of the other part of the group, went with false. And the correct answer here is true. And one of our volunteers earlier this week mentioned too that they use this in programming and coding, which totally makes sense, right? Because coding, if you think of it, it's like a series of instructions, and you're telling the computer, well, if this happens, if this is true or false, boom, then do this. And if this is true or false, it's different sorts of steps. I mean, these are things that we do every day, but we don't even think about it, right? To do this in a computer, you have to sort of give every single option possible that you can sort of think of to make the program work. All right, cool. Let's go to number 7. Of course you knew that. You're super smart. You're a football player turned human computer thing. You're super smart, Cyborg. Was it Booyah? Thank you. All right. Now, as much as that name there, the looks like Euler diagram, I had to Google this one. So that is actually pronounced Euler. And yes, I know I don't watch hockey, but it's kind of pronounced the same way as the Edmonton Oilers. So the Euler diagram is used to show sets and relationships between them. Is that true or is that false? Elliot, can you pop up the answer sheet, please? Let's start the timer. So yes, as weird as that might sound looking at that word, yes, the Euler diagram is used to show sets and the relationships between them. Maybe they're good friends, that's the relationship status, or they don't like each other, or that person has a lot of cool tools. I don't think that's what they mean by those relationships. Absolutely not. But what do you think? True or false? The Euler diagram is used to show sets and the relationships between them. All right, let's lock in some answers and let's take a look at what we're saying. All right, so yes, the majority of the audience, tongue-tied, sorry about that. The majority of the audience went with true, and then a small portion went with false, and the correct answer is true. Elliot, are we getting any super critical questions, or we're just trucking along, keeping it easy? Perfect, thank you, sir. All right, let us go to question number 8. And remember, if you're sweating this, don't worry. If you're sweating because it's warm where you are, that's okay. I hope you're comfortable, but don't stress out. If you don't know it, don't worry about it. Give it a shot, try it out. General knowledge. So we're talking about that equation. right in front of us. So 10 equals 2x plus 5. All right. In order to solve for x in this equation, that one we just looked at, the first step would be to add 5 to both sides of the equation. Is that true or is that false? Personally, I have no idea. Elliot, can you pop up the answer sheet, please? All right, let's start that timer. 10 equals 2x plus 5. Now, if you got to solve that, the question's asking you, the first thing you should do is add 5 to both sides of the equation. Is that what you do? True? Or is that false? Not what you do. These are super, super, super tough. I'm blown away that anybody's getting these. You guys are really, really good at this. All right, just a few seconds left. All right, booyah. Let's log it in. Let's take a look at what people are saying. Okay, wow, quite a spread here. So the majority of the audience went with false, and then a minority went with true. The correct answer for 1 point is false. All right. Minha, I asked you earlier, what actually is legit the first step that you would do if you were solving that?
Well, the first step you would actually do is minus 5 from both sides. So you would subtract instead of adding, and that will cancel out your 5, and that way you can continue with the next steps.
Interesting. Okay, so the question was deliberately written to trick people. Yeah, it's not the addition, you go subtraction. Perfect. Thank you very, very, very much. All right. Question number 9. Oh, I went too fast again. I'm sorry. We're entering the visual round. So remember, the questions, yes, might be multiple choice or true or false or whatever, but there's a visual element, picture, video, something like that to each question. All right, reading. So it's going to be something from the book. Whoa, we're talking intersections again, right? So what is the intersection of K and L? So if you were to represent it in a diagram, would it be A, where you got the two circles and the majority, like the outside parts of the circle are blue? Would it be A? Would it be B, where just the middly parts are blue? Would it be C, where K, for me, it's on my left hand here, would be blue? Or would it be L, which the right hand is blue? Okay, so you're looking for the intersection of K and L. Which of those diagrams is the correct representation for that? Sorry. I'll be honest, guys, I skipped lunch today, so I'm a little loopy. I apologize. All right, number 9. Elliot, can you pop that bad boy up, please? Here we go. Let's start that timer. So which diagram is for representative of, I was about to say K and L. K, the intersection of K and L. Is it having the blue on the outside? Is it having blue in the middle? Is it having the blue on the K side? Or is it having the blue on the L side? Just a few more seconds left. All right, let's lock those in. And the answers are spread a little bit all over. We'll take a look.
Hold on one sec. We got a lot of people out there who are not paying attention to the questions and what answers they are. I don't know. Just going forward, there's only a couple questions left. Let's just see what we're on. Question. What are we on now?
9.
We're on question 9 right now.
Yeah.
Let's go forward. We'll worry about the other questions later. All right.
Yeah. We'll dig up. Like, is it about the specific answers, Elliot? Is that it? Like,
yeah,
like,
no, I mean, people are just like, what question is this? What question number? What was the answer to that last question? What was the question there? And it's like,
okay,
we can't answer all these questions.
Well, what you can try to do is answer some of them at the end then. But yes, remember, we're on question 9. That's why we're popping it up. You can see it on your screen there on the, for me, on the right-hand side of the screen, it says time's up, question 9, reading. There's a little book and 1 point. Okay, so the bulk of the audience went with B. They're saying that is the one with the blue in the middle. Then the next part, or the next more popular answers were people saying it's blue on the outside. Then after that, some people are saying blue for the K side and then blue for the L side. And the correct answer for 1 point is B. Yes, the one where they overlap, right? So the middle section is what you're looking for. So give yourself 1 point if you pick the blue in the middle. Okay, let's go to number 10. And this one, as per usual, is a career question. So what's going to happen is I'm going to play the video, but the thing I want you to listen to is, so this is Lauren Smith from Canada Life. She's going to talk about her job, and she says something about actuaries. What is one of the most traditional industries that actuaries work in? Okay, so I want you to listen out. So I'm going to mute myself and I'm going to play the video.
Hi, my name is Lauren, and I'm an actuarial analyst at the Canada Life Assurance Company. Some of you may have heard of Canada Life, as we provide insurance and investment solutions to over 13 million Canadians. That's roughly 1 in every 3 people, so it is likely that someone you know may have a tie to Canada Life. Being in the insurance sector, Canada Life employs many actuaries, as insurance is one of the most traditional industries where actuaries work. This is because they have technical skills that employ the use of both science and mathematics, which are both important to companies that provide insurance products. This is one of the ways that being an actuary is relevant to STEM. At Canada Life, I work in the Group Customer Financial Reporting Process Innovation Department, which is part of Canada Life's Group Customer business. The group customer portion of Canada Life's business is responsible for providing insurance and investment solutions to businesses rather than individual people. In the Process Innovation Department, there are 2 main functions that I perform. The first is monthly reporting. At the end of each month, we receive a lot of data based on the insurance experience in the group disability portion of Canada Life's business. This includes how many new claims were filed throughout the month, how many claims were completed throughout the month, and how many claims are still open from the previous month. This provides us with a monthly snapshot of the change in claims from one month to the next. My job is to combine and analyze the data so that it is easy to determine how the company performed in terms of the group disability insurance over the month, as well as to compare the actual experience to what we expected to happen. A common function of actuaries is to try to predict what we think is going to happen in the future. In our department, we try to predict what our claims experience is going to be for months into the future. And then as we obtain actual experience, this allows us to alter our expectations and how they need to be improved. Process innovation is the literal name of my department, and this is the second main function that I perform outside of month-end reporting. This means inventing new ways to do my work that make the processes more efficient. Relating to STEM, this is a large part of the science in my work. Efficiency is key when working as an actuary, and this means that I'm constantly looking for ways to solve business problems faster and more accurately than done before. Some of the ways that I do this is by exploring new technological tools that may help in combining and analyzing the data, as well as transforming the data into new graphs and presentations that present more meaningful results to senior management. Being an actuary allows you to use the skills that you learn in school, such as problem solving and creativity, and apply them to a variety of situations that you may have never even thought of.
All right, thank you. Just make sure I was unmuted. And thank you, Lauren. So yes, she gave us a lot of information about her job as an actuary, but what traditional industry do actuaries work in? What do actuaries actually work in? That's really silly. I'm sorry. So did she say it was aerospace, nuclear physics, insurance, or pharmaceutical? All right, let's take a look at that answer sheet, please, Elliot. And we'll start the timer. So yes, obviously actuaries do work in all kinds of different jobs, but Lauren indicated there's one job in particular that traditionally actuaries work in. Was it aerospace, nuclear physics, insurance, or pharmaceutical? Plus, she used some math at the beginning. She mentioned they represent 13 million Canadians, which is, she said, roughly 1/3, which is pretty wild. All right, let's lock those answers in and take a look. So the bulk of the audience went with insurance. Then we dropped down a fair bit, to pharmaceutical, then nuclear physics, and then aerospace. And Lauren indicated the industry, the most traditional industry that actuaries work in is, for 1 point, insurance. Let's ensure that you get that answer. That was a really bad joke too. I'm sorry. If it made you laugh, thank you. All right. So yes, 1 point for insurance. Let's move on to question 11. That is our last question. This one's going to be a little bit different though. It's your choice. So what topic do you want for the next question? Are we going to talk about perseverance? Not like, yeah, keep trying, dude. No, like perseverance, the rover in space, or COVID-19 and biology. So Elliot is going to pop up the answer sheet, or sorry, the poll for you to vote on, and I'm going to start the timer. And we're going to go with what the majority of the audience picks. So far this week, it's been really close, like a difference of 10 to 15. So I don't know if one's going to be like a particular blowout or if the other one, or if this will be like the other groups so far this week, it'll be really, 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 really close. So do you want to do space stuff, talking about the Perseverance rover that landed just a few weeks ago, or do you want to talk about COVID-19 and biology? All right, let's lock those in. So you have broken the trend. You can take a look. We can show the audience there, Elliot. You've broken the trend of what the other groups have done this week. So there are 37 people difference between this, and it looks like Perseverance, the space one, is what we'll be doing. So this will be worth 1 point. Oh my goodness. Come on, buddy. Go, go, go. All right. What is the type of code that can be seen in Perseverance's parachute? Those weird little red and white lines there. Is it a hex code? Is it a Morse code? Is it a binary code? Or is it a zip code? Elliot, can you pop up the answer sheet, please? Let's start that timer. Here we go. So yes, there's actually something embedded there. There's a message. There's a message in the red and white there. But how is it written? Is it hex, Morse, binary, or zip? All right, so we're under 10 seconds. Just a few more seconds left. All right, let's lock in our answers and take a look. So pretty close with the top two. So most of the audience went with hex, then we dropped down to binary. Then after that, the other two are fairly close to each other, Morse and zip. Now the correct answer for 1 point is, I'm sorry, everybody, it's binary. Yes, so that is written in binary, and some people cracked the code and translated it into text. Mia, what is the message in the parachute?
I think it is dare to do mighty things.
Yeah, dare mighty things, exactly. That's in the middly part. You see the parachute almost has two main areas. So there's like the chonky Timbit boy in the middle, and then there's a black line. That's just an opening in the parachute, and you're seeing the Martian sky. And then there's an outer ring. Minha, do you remember what the message is on the outside? What is the message supposed to be?
Yeah, I believe it's a GPS code, right?
Yeah, it's the GPS of the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. Now, they didn't do this just for fun. Like, it's cool that they put that in there. And there's actually apparently other, like, sort of encoded Easter eggs on the rover that people will probably try to solve in time when we see more parts of the rover. The reason they did that is they wanted to know which way the parachute was pointing. If they made that parachute all red, really, really, really hard to tell, like north, south, east, west, which way it was. If they did little segments or even quarters, it'd be hard to tell. So this is a very asymmetrical image. It's not random because we know it's binary in this message, but just looking at it's kind of random looking and weird, and be like, okay, I know exactly which way things are pointing, and that's why they did that. Now we have a little bit of extra time. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to throw in the COVID question, but we're not going to count it for points. It's just for fun. Okay. All right. Oops. Nope. There we go. All right. So this is not for points. We're just going to do it for fun. So what type of curve represents the spread of COVID-19? Is it factorial growth, logarithmic growth, exponential growth, or linear growth? And you can see a little diagram there. So just for fun, just for bragging rights, Elliot, can you pop up that answer sheet, please? All right, and let's start the timer. Here we go. You might know this because it is an expression that, yes, in the last year we've heard a lot. If you don't know it, don't sweat it. Give it a try. But when we see something like that going up, curving up quite rapidly like that, is that factorial growth, logarithmic growth, exponential growth, or linear growth? All right, let's lock in those answers, Elliot. And again, it's not worth points. Don't sweat it. Don't sweat it. Let's take a look. Okay, perfect. And the correct answer, yes, for 1 point is sorry, it's not worth 1 point. I'm sorry. I'm on autoplay right now. Is exponential growth. So Minha, can I just ask you a question about this? So
yeah,
like
sure.
if I get the cold or flu and I get sick, I might give it maybe to like one other person. So exponential growth, what would happen? Like if I had COVID, what would happen if I went out?
So the difference is basically when it's exponential growth, what would happen is that if you went out, you would give it to maybe 2 or 3 or 4 people. So one of the variables, so the time, is not increasing as fast as the cases are increasing, which is why exponential growth occurs.
So yeah, I got it. I give it the 4. That doesn't sound so bad, but if those 4 give it the 4 and those 4 give it the 4, like it just keeps going and going and going and going. And what's this whole flatten the curve thing then? What are we trying to do to this, rocket ship of a line? What are we trying to do?
So when they say we're trying to flatten the curve, what they're trying to do is they're trying to make the curve so that it becomes a horizontal line, almost a horizontal line, and eventually go down. And the point of that is to decrease the cases and obviously, get rid of this entire pandemic.
Yeah. I'm hoping for that. You and me both. Okay, interesting.
Yep.
Thank you very much. Awesome.
You're welcome.
Okay, so yes, it is the end of the quiz. Please don't take off just yet. Some things to remember: fill out the participation form again. The grown-up who signed you up will have that. The word you want to put on there is satellite. Satellite, not pineapple or pizza or Charles is hungry. No. You want to put satellite. The design and build challenge. So you have until March 21st to send us your video for the math design and build. The next one is released on Friday. I just wanted to take a moment. So I don't just do this all day long. I have other things to do, and I've been really, really, really busy lately. But yesterday, I took a few moments to look at some of the videos that we're getting from all the groups. Holy smokes, you guys are smart. I'm being seriously genuine here. You guys are really, really, really ingenious. I only got to look at a couple of them from different weeks, and I am super impressed. And yes, I know it's a grown-up saying this. Some of the stuff you guys are doing is really, really, really cute, and you are much better at editing video than me. So they're really, really, really nice submissions, and they all put a smile on my face. It's really, really, really cool to see the way you're thinking about things and how someone might be thinking a little bit differently. I love it. I really, really, really love it. I'm super proud of you for doing that. And the chat with the scientist, yes, it was yesterday, but the recording will be made available today. It was with a mathematician. All right. If you want to share any of this stuff, like pictures, again, please don't share pictures of the questions and answers and whatnot. You can use the hashtag LTSC 2021, Let's Talk Science Challenge. That's what the LTSC is for. You can always tag us as well on Facebook and Twitter. You can use the same one at Let's Talk Science. Or if you're on Instagram, if you feel like doing that, it's at LTScience_PS. So yes, Let's Talk Science. And the PS is for our French, Parlons Science. And the topic next week is gonna be about rusty roosters and letters. No, it is gonna be about earth science. It's a weather vane, guys. I'm sorry. It's not about chickens and the alphabet. So yes, we're gonna be doing earth science. So make sure you take a look at that chapter in your handbook. A huge thank you to Sophie Clement and Lauren Smith from Canada Life for the videos today. Thank you to Minha, to Mia, and Elliot for backing me up today. Thank you, folks, for showing up today. I really, really, really appreciate it, because my Friday afternoons would be super boring and not doing this. So I'm happy you're here.